meeting to order. Phyllis, would you do our invocation? Do you mind tonight? Okay, if everybody will stand, we're going to have our invocation and our pledge.
Father, we thank you for the many blessings that you give us each and every day. Father, we thank you for the opportunity to serve our fellow citizens in the city. And Lord, we just ask that you be with us as we try to make the best decisions for our community. Father, we just ask that you be with our city, our state, our nation as we face all the problems that are confronting us. And Father, we just ask that you give us clear minds and soft, gentle hearts so that we can just love each other and spread love and truth throughout our community. Father, we just ask you to be with us tonight as we discuss this matter. We ask all this in your name, and we ask that you forgive us of our sins. Amen.
If you would, please behind me. Pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, if everybody would be seated, please. All right, if we could have our clerk do our roll call.
Fraction. Wilson.
Here.
Davis.
Here.
Reynolds. Lusinger.
Here.
Keenan.
Here.
Stiles.
Here.
Cross.
Here.
I was trying to make sure they didn't think it was 6:30. All right, we're still trying to get hold of Wayne and Mary to make sure that 6:30 hadn't messed them up. But what we're here is to talk about the 911. We kind of was talking about it, actually went to a quorum court meeting, and personally, I didn't think we came to any conclusion whatsoever. We did ask for a committee, and the committee, we asked for a committee of 2 representatives from the city, 2 from the county, and 1 from Rockport. And but the judge, Thornton, wanted an advisory committee. And so, but we wanted a committee that really had some teeth that could do something. Because I have all the paperwork here, and you should have it too in your packet.
Yes, sir.
After 5 years, we're actually going to be paying the most. If this formula continues as is, we would be paying $148,879.40, and Hot Spring County would be paying $135,139.96, and Rockport would be paying, looks like a total of $36,257.06, because they was having someone, they were having 911 do their warrants, and 911 was going to charge them for a part-time person to do that, and they did choose not to do that, so they're doing their own warrants now. So the reason we're here is because whenever I had my back surgery, we did get a statement in, and it was for the increased amount, and we paid it. Kim called me, and apparently I was on pain medicine. So I told her pay it, and I guess he wasn't thinking. So when I got the bill this time, I actually reduced it by what it was previously, and also reduced it by that first quarter's amount. So the thing of it is that, you know, in the paper they were saying that the city agreed to pay it and that the quorum court was disappointed. Well, we didn't agree to pay that. Nothing, to my knowledge, was ever completely decided. Now, the judge did send me an email, or had his secretary send me an email that said that he was going to have an advisory board, and that the representatives from the county would be a gentleman named Kevin Hathcock and Richard Tolson, the chief deputy for the county, and then also Rockport had picked out, I believe, a gentleman named Roger Lishbrook. But that's what I need to know, what you want to do. I do have Cecilia here. I have Chief Tabor, Chief Harper here for any questions you might have.
Okay, so did he communicate with you anything else beyond an email? I mean, so did he ask you if you were going to be paying it?
No. He just sent us he had Regina at 911 just sent us the increased bill, which the bill, we were paying $90,000 a year, and he increased it by, let me look right here, $11,775.88 per month.
Did he know that you accidentally paid him?
I would think he probably does. But that's why I sent a letter with the next one and told him that we had not made an agreement on that and that we were not going to pay it until we came to an agreement.
And has he responded to that?
No, all that Regina told me is that she would get with the judge. The judge had his secretary send me an email that said, due to the coronavirus, the judge had not done a committee, but the whole thing is he did an advisory committee, not a board like we were talking about.
No,
But
because
when did
we,
it
Did
run
the
in
city
paper?
have 2 representatives on that advisory committee?
Well, we're supposed to appoint them. Would you see if you turn that up, John? We can't hardly.
There is no more.
Okay. We can't hardly hear you for some reason, but so he is asking who that's what the email said. He's asking if we have appointed our 2 representatives yet.
But
okay,
Well, if he's
I-
already made the
that
decision to charge us,
conversation-
why would we need an advisory committee if he's already made the decision?
Well,
I don't,
I think what it said in the paper was that we had agreed, but we haven't agreed. We have nothing in writing. We left that night really not knowing anything, and nothing has been said to me since then, nothing.
was that the night we were all there? Is that the
Yes.
only meeting you've had?
I'm sorry, I can't hear.
Yes, is that the only
No,
meeting
we
we've
were all
had
there.
tonight that we were all
Yes,
there?
that's the only meeting we've had, yes.
And, well, you're right, Mayor, nothing was decided that night, nothing.
and the last thing we said was that unless we get the board like we asked for, that we weren't going to pay it. And so I mean, I feel like this is an attempt to strong arm us.
Right, Lynn needs to talk. She's been trying. Lynn, what you got?
I just remember that they wanted him to be in charge of it, and that was something we all, us, agreed that he did not need to be the one in charge. We needed a nonpartisan person to be in charge of that.
Well, that was the whole purpose, is we're paying the most money. At the end of 5 years, we will be. But we really don't have any say-so. And yes, there's an advisory board, but, we don't really have any say-so. And
Have they shown you any, Mayor, have they shown you any numbers about what it takes to run that thing? And
yes, now y'all have all the stuff previously. It should be in your iPad. Y'all go back and kind of review it after this meeting. But yes, I'm not sure what month it was. It was towards the end of last year, but I gave you everything that they gave me, which was a budget. And then they also gave us this plan sheet. But I tell you what I'll do. I'll have Phyllis put it back on there tomorrow just to make it easy to find. But it's got a plan sheet as to what they wanted to see done over the next 5 years. Now, they also can't tell me how much comes from city when it comes to the phone surcharges and how much comes from the county. They're just kind of lumping it together. And they say that when they get the report, it doesn't divide it out. So there's no way they can tell what's city and what's county. But the thing of it is, we had no agreement. When we left there that night, I haven't heard anything else about it until we did get that bill in March.
Yeah, what they were saying was that whoever it is that's over that now was going to have 6 bosses or some crap like that instead of just one boss. If all of a sudden there was this board in charge, and I wasn't buying it, and they put a couple of people on that. Maybe the numbers are real. I don't necessarily have a problem with the numbers, but just the way they're going about it and coming up with these numbers and throwing them on us, trying to make us agree to it, and then thinking there wasn't going to be any pushback from it. It's just crazy.
Well, I
Well,
will say, when the 911 originally opened up, it was a board, it was not under the county judge. And it was right before I came on as quorum court, they actually voted to disband the board and bring it under the county. So, I do know that for fact.
One other thing they said is they've been bailing that out, but it's not our fault they got in the trouble they got into.
Well, there was something about the cell phone money too. I can't remember exactly what they said, but
Gotta
they
be a
wasn't sure
tax.
how much of that money they were gonna get or something.
Well,
How much, I
If
can't
I
remember.
remember, the estimate was around 120,000, but they didn't want to use that to offset. They wanted to put it in a fund for future equipment. If I remember correctly.
See, that's wrong right there already.
They mentioned that in one meeting, but I did notice that night when Costin was talking, he was talking about using that and then the county becoming financially neutral. At one point he said that, so I don't even know if they have their entire plan together. Because when I heard him say that, I kind of thought, wow, that's.
So it
We-
sounded like that they were going to use it to cover their expenses.
We probably need to have another meeting with them, or either that, just not pay them.
Well, let's figure out where we are legally. Where do we stand? What do we have to do? What are options for us? That's what I want to know. We may not have an option. I don't know.
Well, I know that
We need to find out.
I know that a lot of the counties surrounding are, do have their own, they are not lumped in together. Robin, are you on the call? Robin? I know it, and I'm not trying to put you on the spot, but do you know, you and I had talked about it, and I know you have to have some sort of license. Is there a possibility for us to even get a license to do our own?
But Mayor, go ahead.
Yes. So, Sue, we've never, that I know of, I can't find anything that was ever signed between the city and county on an agreement with 911. We can't find.
I really feel like we probably need to have some kind of meeting with them if we're going to really work this out. I'm not trying to take over 911. I just felt like they were being totally unreasonable for what they were throwing at us and pretty arrogant about the whole thing, really. For them to run the thing the way they ran it and it get into a position where they were, all of a sudden needing all this money, and then for them just to expect us to be like, okay, yeah, here's some more money. It's crazy.
Well, do you want to have I know their 911 committee, I think, is made up of either 3 or 4 people. Do you want to come up with a committee from your group, and I don't mind sitting in on it, but to actually meet with them? If all of us try to meet with all the quorum court, I'm afraid we won't accomplish anything. Sometimes if you have a smaller group, you get a little bit more done.
Yeah, I don't mind meeting if we need to. I would probably, I they may not want to meet with us. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, the last agreement we have is what we agreed to pay them. And that's the last agreement we have, whether it's in writing or whatever. We all agreed to pay them this amount, and that's all that's been agreed.
And we never had anything in writing. We just actually, I came to you and asked you for a little bit of an increase because they had come to me at the time. Because when I came, I think we were paying 81,000 and then we upped it to 90 since probably that first year that I was mayor.
And that's what we actually had stopped at, right? Where we all agreed? 90?
90, that's what we've been paying for 5 years or 4 years, whatever.
Mayor, is there a state statute anywhere that kind of gives you guidelines for these kind of situations?
I thought we looked at all that before and there was not. Robin, do you know of anything? Cecilia says she doesn't know anything. She looked too. Oh, you can? So as far as what now? The state statute as far as what? Right, but there's nothing between saying a city and a county has to going into a joint venture. That's
but I think, and if it hadn't changed by state statute, the county is ultimately responsible, like to provide a jail. And I'm wondering if there's something in there about 911.
It's very possible. And I don't know how it would work. Robin, if we were to, I'm not saying we want to, but I'm saying if we were to open up our own 911 system in a sense, then would we get our part of the money or how would that work? Do you know? Okay.
I really feel like this is their problem to work out. And I think they just thought, well, we're going to tell them no and they're going to start paying. And they probably got excited when you paid that first payment. Yeah, they did it. And now
I took it back the
here we
next
are.
time.
Never mind.
They just didn't want to work with us, really. But it's their deal to work out, and it's really, we could probably just go on and pay what we were paying until they start contacting you wanting to do something. I'm okay to do that too. And I'm okay to meet with them. I do want to work it out. I think it can be worked out. It's just, they're gonna have to let go of a little power. And I don't know if they're, it may take a couple meetings and us holding our ground.
It's much like a utility bill. We get a bill for the services, we're supposed to pay it. If we don't pay it, ultimately they can, just continue, your utility. But with it being
that's not true with water.
That PR nightmare is horrendous. They could never do that, much like us with our Perla water situation. It's kind of the same thing. But as long as we're paying them, there shouldn't be an issue with them discontinuing anything. But we definitely need to reach a resolution in writing, of some sort.
You're saying we need to have a resolution of what we're gonna pay and what we're gonna do?
Well, we need to have an agreement.
Yeah, we need to get an agreement
have a
with
signed agreement with them.
Oh, with them, yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Is there ever going to be a way to agree with them since they want more than what we're willing to do? So we're kind of at a standstill on this.
Well, that's why I called you here to talk to you, because I didn't know quite what to, after seeing that in the paper, saying that we had agreed to it. Well, we didn't agree to it. And, the quorum court said they were disappointed in the council. Well, we never agreed. We didn't sign anything. we did not do anything. And the board, we wanted a board, not an advisory board. And so what we asked for that night, none of it has come about.
They've
But
just kind
it's entirely how you want to handle it. If you want me to contact the judge, to have the budget committee or 2 or 3 of you that want to volunteer to meet with their 911 committee and talk, that's fine. Or if you want to just keep paying what we're paying and see what happens, you just need to let me know what I need to do.
I definitely don't want to do anything more than paying what we've been paying. I don't want to give them any more money until we've had meetings and talked and we all agree for sure.
Well, I agree with you on that one, but how do you want to go about it? You want to just keep paying and wait for them to reach out to us, or do you want me to tell the judge that we're willing to, whomever wants to meet with the 911 committee, they'd like to meet with them and talk it out, you know? What do you want?
It might be good to email him and remind him that we don't have an agreement since they put it in the paper that we do.
Yeah, there's no agreement.
Yeah,
There's got to be another case like this somewhere back down the line. There has got to be something already settled or already worked out on this legally. I just can't believe there's not anything out there.
Well, we're just one of very few, I think, in the state that actually has this set up. If I remember correctly, Robin, is that correct? Most of them are separated. We're one of very few in the whole state that does.
Mayor, have you talked to Municipal League? Have they shed any light on it? Have they ever seen anything before similar to this?
No. I mean, I can talk to them. Most of the time they won't get involved if it's a city against a city or a city against a county or things like that. They usually kind of stay out of, I find. But the whole key to this is this: if we don't pay, I'm just saying, if we don't come to an agreement, they cut us off, we've got to make sure that we can get our own piece out. Or, Robin, let me ask you this: if we don't get our own piece out, but we choose not to pay for the service and they keep our money, would they have to then transfer it to us somehow? I would think we would have to still have somebody answering the phone, but they would be forwarding those calls, and then we'd have to dispatch our own police officers. Is that correct? But then you're going to have the cost of having some additional staffing doing that.
That's what they, is it more cost effective just to pay it or to set up our own system?
Right. But
we also can't be strong armed.
Oh, that's
5 years, we're going to be paying more than the county is.
I'm not sure they could cut us off. I'm not sure that legally they could do that.
Well,
personally, I don't want us to try and figure that out after the fact. I think we need to know where we stand legally before we really
Absolutely. I
Yeah.
agree.
Well, the thing of it is,
There's got to be something out there.
No, because this something
We
like
don't,
this happened.
but I can start in on that tomorrow and find out. I can call the county attorney as well and see what the situation is, but I don't want to march off into that, contacting them unless you want me to. But I can do the research on it and find out best we can. The last time we touched on this, we didn't get very far into it. We just kind of scratched the surface.
Did you say you were going to contact the county attorney?
The county has an attorney as well, Ralph Owen. I said I can contact him to see, what their position is, but I don't want to do that unless.
No, I wouldn't do that. I think we know their position. I wouldn't let them know anything.
Okay. Okay.
I have to agree. I don't think we should reach out to the county until we figure out where we stand.
Well, so what do you want to do the next step? Do you want to have Cecilia do research and meet back in a few days and talk about what she found out, or what do you want to do?
Yes, I agree with that.
I think that's our best option.
Okay,
Yes,
when
I
do
do
you wanna,
Hey,
oh,
Mayor,
no.
the next time we have a meeting with them, we want to know the answer to all the questions before we go in there. Does that make sense?
Well, okay, so what are the questions? So she's writing them all down.
I'm just saying where we stand legally. Can they cut us off? Do we have to pay, meet their demands and pay? There's got to be something on the books.
Okay.
When will a committee be picked, selected?
Okay. What'd you say, Mary?
When will the committee be selected? The committee.
Well, that's what I mean, do you want to wait till Cecilia does some research and then
Yes,
try to meet
yes,
back first of next week, one afternoon, and then find out what she says and then go from there?
yes, sounds good.
Okay, so,
Can we, along with that, also have a rough number yearly, what it would cost to run our own? I think that would be helpful.
Harper, Tabor, could y'all check into that for me, think about it together?
Just roughly.
What it would cost for us to have our own dispatchers. All right, I'll have Chief Tabor and Chief Harper work on that together.
You're wanting that, Jeremy?
So, okay, well, what day would be a good day for y'all to meet next week after we find out these answers?
Any day for me, any day for me. just
Every
let
day
me
be
know.
fine with me.
That'll be up fine with me too.
Well, give me a day, somebody, or time, or something.
I would prefer Wednesday if possible.
Wednesday.
I think Thursday would be a good day. That'd give a week.
Okay, well, Phyllis says she can't start Wednesday because of church. So, would Thursday be okay with y'all?
Yes,
Yeah.
Matthew, would that be okay?
Yes.
Okay, what would be
Yeah.
a good time?
As long as I don't have a baby, a new grandbaby, I'll be on here.
Okay, so Thursday, do y'all want like at 4 o'clock or 4:30, or you want something like this, 6 o'clock?
Gotta be later.
I like the 6 o'clock.
6 o'clock?
6 o'clock.
6 o'clock.
So Thursday, this next Thursday at 6 o'clock, a week from today. And we'll have Cecilia do some research. Is that good for you?
Yes, that works.
And we'll have she and Robin work together because Robin does have a lot of knowledge on that since he did, he was over there. For so long. And if anybody thinks of any questions, would you please call myself or Cecilia so she can research that? Or if you have any questions I need to ask anybody else, would you please call me and so I can get it done and be prepared for Thursday?
Okay, here's a question, the primary question that you need to answer. Can they cut us off if we continue to pay the same amount we're paying now?
Okay, she's got it. She's got that one. Any other questions y'all can think of? Wayne, you got anything?
No, I don't have anything.
What are your thoughts? You've been awful quiet.
I'm just taking all this in. I mean, we, have so much intelligent conversation going on. All I know is if you're going to go in there and deal with those people, like they said earlier, you better have your stuff in order before you go in there. You got to know what you want to agree to.
I believe I said that.
I believe you did.
I don't want to, I don't really want to go into another one of their meetings anyway. I think that was part of the problem. We went to one of their meetings and it was acting all tough. We need to meet at the Chamber of Commerce or somewhere, I don't know, common ground with, like you said, probably less people when we get to it. Just, I don't know. It was just like, well, you're in our courtroom and blah, blah, blah. And that's the end of that. It was just real rude and arrogant.
Okay, and that's a good point. From the first meeting that we had, my guess is we're either going to pay or have to go to court before it's all over because they're that arrogant and that demanding. I'm sorry. And I don't know any of those people personally. That's the first time I ever laid eyes on some of them, but they're not going to go, they're not going to go down easy is what I'm saying. it'll wind up in court if we don't give them what they want. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
And on top of that too, our money is pretty valuable to them, I would think. And we're willing to pay it.
Hey,
We
they're
don't
broke.
like,
They're broke.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. Our money's pretty valuable to them and we're willing to pay it. So I feel like we're giving and they're not. And that's the thing I have a problem with. There's no compromise here. We need some compromise.
Well, we knew that the night of that meeting, that they were not willing to compromise.
Yeah. Well, let's do this then. We'll get all the questions answered. We'll meet back Thursday at 6 o'clock and then we'll decide what our next step is. How about that?
Okay.
Sound good.
All right.
Sounds good.
All right, everybody else, has anybody got anything else? We only talk about 911, but anything else with 911? Nope. Well, do I have a motion to adjourn?
Make a motion to adjourn.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Second. All right, we are adjourned. See you next Thursday.
Yeah.
Wash
Bye-bye.
your
Thank y'all.
hands.